It's cold. We got like 15 plus inches of snow. I prefer like 5 to 8. Pause. But you're not here to hear about my snow worries and me having to go dig my cars out of the snow. You're here to hear about video game news, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Some very exciting stuff as well. Nintendo Direct stuff, Nintendo announcements, game leaks, all sorts of crap. Hit subscribe if you're new, but let's just hop straight into this. The first and arguably most important thing in this video, the Virtual Boy is coming soon to Nintendo Switch 2. What, you're not excited for the Virtual Boy? Well, guess what, pal? You can go to hell, because I am excited for this because I love the Virtual Boy. Nintendo did a little presentation on the Virtual Boy and what to expect from it on the Nintendo Switch 2 online portion of things. Of course, there is that headset apparatus that costs $100 dues that I bought one, of course. I love the Virtual Boy. They did talk about what games were coming out on launch, which is February 17th, and then some other games that are coming out and some additional features. So on day one, you'll be able to play Galactic Pinball, very fun game, 3D Tetris, Telero Boxer, very fun game, Virtual Boy Wario Land, excellent game, The Mansion of Innsmouth, which is interesting because that never had a North American version. I wonder if it's going to be the Japanese version. It's kind of like a first-person horror game on the Virtual Boy. Yes, I'm serious, but I always like that game, at least playing it via emulation. Golf and Red Alarm. And then coming on later to Virtual Boy will be Mario Clash, Mario Tennis, which is weird because Mario Tennis was a launch game. I don't know what's up with that. Jack Bros, Space Invaders Virtual Collection, Virtual Bowling, Vertical Force, excuse me, V Tetris, Zero Racers, and D Hopper. And what's interesting about those last two games, Zero Racers and D Hopper, is those were previously unreleased games. So I'm all for that. Give me the Virtual Boy unreleased deep cuts. I want everything from this system. Like, this is a super good lineup of games. This is essentially what I would like to see. You know, the first-party Nintendo games were arguably a cut above a lot of the third-party games on the system, but like Vertical Force is a super cool game. I always enjoyed that. Jack Bros was cool, and these unreleased games I think will be fun. You can, of course, mess around with the controls. You can do stuff with having different rewind features and crap like that because, you know, that's important for people nowadays. And they actually said that they're going to be adding color options to it later on this year, which means that like the red and black attack isn't necessarily going to be the only way you can view these games. I don't know. I guess that's kind of cool. I would be curious to see if they go like full on color. Like, imagine like Wario Land with like full on color. That would be freaking awesome. But regardless, this is the most exciting thing out of the three topics of this video. You may disagree with me, but I don't care. Virtual Boy, all hail the Virtual Boy. It is a great platform. Over half of the games on it are good titles, fun titles, and you're wrong if you don't like it, but I mean, that's okay. You're allowed to have a differentiating opinion. What do you think about the Virtual Boy announcement, though? What do you think about the game lineup, and what do you think about the additional features that are being added to it? You let me know in the comments section down below, pal. Next up, we got to talk about some game leaks, and no, I'm not talking about tied into the Nintendo Direct, which we'll talk about as the end topic of this video. However, they might be tied into the Nintendo Direct because these are Nintendo Switch Online games. And obviously, it's very weird how these games are distributed. You know, sometimes you get a whole variety of them, like we're seeing with the Virtual Boy. Sometimes it turns into a drip feed. Sometimes it seems like they forget about platforms such as the Sega Genesis. Like, add some Sega CD games to it. Like, what are you doing? Like, there's plenty of games left to add to it. But Walmart actually put up some very interesting marketing materials approved by Nintendo themselves, so we can get into a discussion about that, showcasing Nintendo Switch Online for the Switch 2 via the expansion pack and some of the games that you can play. And when you look at this graphic, it's kind of like, well, okay, you know, I'm down here in the bottom corner. Hi. You know, okay, you know, you got your your Mario Land, Super Mario World, Mario Golf, Tetris. We know about all these games. What are we looking for here? Wait a minute. Pikmin 2? Well, Pikmin 2's not available on the GameCube. What happened here? Did the Walmart employee put Pikmin 2 on this graphic? Or is Nintendo just terrible at marketing and they keep doing weird stuff like the disjointed thumb? What do you want from me here? Like, I can't do that, dog. But yeah, so Pikmin 2 coming to Nintendo Switch Online. Okay, it did have, of course, a remaster and stuff like that, so kind of a weird game. Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario 64, Yoshi, blah, blah, blah. Wait a minute. What is this? Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, a game that should already be out because Metroid Prime 4 is out on the system. Metroid Prime 1 is out on the system. Granted, that was a remaster, but it does indeed seem like Pikmin 2 and Metroid Prime 2 Echoes are coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 via the Switch Online expansion pack, the GameCube, of course. Now, you do get some upscaled resolutions and stuff like that. You do get some quality of life features. Obviously, this is not going to be the same as like a full-on remake or a remaster or anything like that. It's essentially just upscaling via emulation. But it is interesting that like they're showing off these two GameCube games in something that is clearly a Walmart ad that Nintendo clearly approved of, and yet there's still GameCube games that were announced that haven't come out yet. Like, I know there's at least one I don't know if it's Gale of Darkness or Coliseum. I didn't play the Pokemon GameCube games, but I know one of them has been announced, and that's not out yet. So it's interesting. I guess maybe at the next Direct, like, there is the potential to learn about the next wave of GameCube games. Star Fox Adventures better be in that wave. But yes, once again, Nintendo's weird marketing has essentially leaked two games that are coming to NSO. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is really cool if you've never played it. It's kind of darker than the rest of the games in the series, and it's pretty challenging, actually. I would say that that's the hardest Metroid Prime game, at least in my opinion. But I'm excited for this. More games is always better. Still want to see Star Fox Adventures. But yeah, so Nintendo, once again, kind of some strange marketing going on here with you remember they had the enlarged Switch 2 screen, and then they had the disjointed thumb. But hey, who's approving this stuff? What? This is Devin Pritchard. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so some leaked games. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. Would you be excited for these? And what GameCube games would you want to see? And finally, it's time to talk about this Nintendo Direct. Obviously, Nate the Hate made a video on it yesterday with MVG over on the Nate the Hate channel. I'll have a link to it in the description box down below. I do recommend you go watch that video. Lots of third-party and first-party games were discussed. But before we talk about some of those games, because I'm obviously going to leave some for Nate to cover as well, because I'm not going to cannibalize his video. He's a good guy. I talk to him every day. We do want to talk about the time frame of this because it does seem like it's going to be next week. A lot of people have February 5th circled on their calendars after this information came out. Lots of little birdies came out chirping about February 5th. So a lot of reputations are going to be on the line. Some of these people, I know Switch Force said February 5th. I mean, the man obviously has some level of sources, so I'm kind of inclined to believe that, it can be February 5th, but, nothing is written in stone. I would like for it to be next week. The sooner the better, because the sooner we learn about more stuff and more stuff to talk about, it's kind of a nice thing to have going on. But what about games that are going to be at this Direct? Some of the highlights include games like Expedition 33, Doom the Dark Ages, Metaphor ReFantazio, some additional Yakuza games, because God almighty, we need more Yakuza games. All sorts of stuff. I think another game that can be there is going to be WWE 2K26. After the fantastic port of 2K25, it seems like the game's release date has leaked for March, and insiders are saying that it is going to be day and date on the Nintendo Switch 2. that was honestly a great version of the game. Like, I will never shut up about that, because people play crappy third-party games, and people will play Madden and be like, oh, this is fine. This is fine with a fluctuating frame rate. It's great. But then you have a game like WWE 2K25 that's 60 frames per second. And it's like, what are we doing here? Now, as far as first-party games go, that's where things get interesting, because Nate talks about some stuff such as Xenoblade Chronicles, a new Xenoblade game. You know, hopefully they do an update to the pre-existing Xenoblade games. He did mention that more Switch 1 ports, or like, you know, Switch 2 versions of Switch 1 games are going to be coming. That is something Nintendo is going to continually do. I know it's been a weird thing with that, because of the fact that it's like they're selling these Switch 1 games for $80. And I get that. But on the other hand, it's like, just buy a used copy and then get the $20 upgrade. And it's like, yeah, you know, you could have just released it for 60 or 70 with the Switch 2 version and been done with it. You could have put it on Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack for Switch 2 owners for some of these upgrades, like you did with Zelda. But, like, you know, some of these updates are free, you know, like the Donkey Kong Country Returns one, which I did not talk about, but they added in content to that, yet that was free. So it's like, what happened? I thought that wasn't going to be the case. But the most interesting thing is Nate is predicting that a 3D Mario game will be at this Direct, or potentially teased or a little bit talked about, and it's about damn time. You don't understand, dude. It is 2017 was the last 3D Mario game, new 3D Mario game. I'm not counting 3D World's port. Obviously, all the other ones have been 2D games. I'm not counting compilations. It has been since 2017 that we got a new 3D Mario game. It is beyond time. You know, I don't know how far along this game is. I don't know this, that, or the other about it. Obviously, Donkey Kong Bonanza was kind of the 3D platformer that we got towards the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. So there are lots of caveats with that, you know, as far as, you know, what the game's going to be. Is there going to be a new mechanic? Is it going to be an Odyssey 2? Or is it going to be a whole new idea? I don't really know. But what I do know is that I would like to see that there. Like, realistically speaking, I want to see at least one heavy hitter Nintendo game. You could do a little bit of filler here and there, because some people resonate with filler, and I want to see third parties going balls out on this system. You know, Xbox is in a hole right now. Nobody's buying Xbox games or Xbox consoles, and you have to imagine that companies are looking at that. You know, they're looking at their games that are going to Xbox and being like, well, we might be able to sell more on the Switch too, because realistically speaking, if not by the end of this year, by early next year, the Switch 2 will have outsold the Xbox Series platforms in a fraction of the time. So you might as well, you know, start focusing on that a little bit more if that's what you want, if you want to stick around in the console market. But I think this Direct will be interesting. You know, I think it really opens itself up, I should say, to a lot of potential surprises, a lot of interesting announcements. And I like these, you know, third-party games that come to the Switch too, because I like to see, like, you know, is there a drastic difference, or is it, you know, a good enough port? And, you know, ports have been kind of a little bit hit or miss, in my opinion, when it comes to the Switch 2 thus far. But I think going forward, there needs to be a standard level with these games. It's like, you've had your development kits, you understand the hardware now. Let's get some better versions. And I'm primarily talking about Madden and 2K. If those games are not 60 frames per second on the Switch 2 for the upcoming seasons, I'm going to lose my mind. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about that in the comments section down below. And that is what I got for you guys today. Obviously, a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of Nintendo stuff. You're a Nintendo YouTuber. What's going on with PlayStation? What's going on with Xbox that I can talk about? Nothing. There's nothing going on, man. Trust me, I'd like to talk about some of that stuff, but shit, you can't get blood out of a freaking rock or a turnip. And as always, thank you guys for checking out this video. Be sure to share it with your friends and your enemies. Be sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.